Good afternoon, this is Alex Hamilton, and this is Straight from the Approach, a bowling conversation.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, Mark.
Morning, how are you?
I am fantastic, thank you.
Good
How
stuff.
are you?
Very well, thank you. Good weekend?
Oh, it was a fantastic weekend here
Brilliant.
at Stroud Bowl. We had Team England training day on Sunday, which went really, really well. Some great coaching there from Mike Quarry and Paul.
Ready for the Triple Crown in 2 weeks.
Exactly, and the teams look great. The 6 women and 6 men's squads for both the English team are looking fantastic, ready to take on the competition. And then Saturday, I believe we had quite a good day in this Saturday.
We had a very, very good day in this Saturday. Lots of interactions with lots of different customers, all age groups, about the new channel we've got, about Max Fosh's video that they've seen and couldn't believe he was here in Stroud. Yeah, it's really taken off.
Amazing. So we're actually here to talk about something a little different today.
You might see by what's down here, you may have a hint of what the conversation is going to be today, but yeah.
Yeah, so I myself was a bit late to the purple party and only recently got myself a purple hammer. But Mark has been a big advocate for purple hammers.
Oh, for a few years.
For a good few years now. And some would describe them as the best ball on the market.
They're a cheap ball. They are the cheap ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we play in the ESBT, the English Sport Bowling Tour, which is orchestrated by Lee Chatfield, who does an incredible job.
Best tour in the country.
Best tour in the country. You know, he's tried to get the sports fours off the ground, which unfortunately didn't work this year, but we're all about supporting Lee and whatever events he wants to run. Shout out to Lee. But we want to talk today about the 78D rule.
Yes.
So, Mark, do you want to tell our audience what the 78D rule is?
So, yeah, the 78D rule is very basic in what it allows and what it doesn't allow. It will allow urethane or urethane-like balls that have got what's deemed now a 78D hardness on the cover stock under on the durometer scale.
Okay.
And what that means is it's just the surface of the ball for a purple hammer, for example, is too soft. So it's not hard enough.
Okay.
It's under the new rule. The EBT, so the European Bowling Tour, have adopted this rule this year, and it's all stemmed from the PBA. And the PBA adopted it because the purple hammer was taking far too much out of the game in their eyes. It's still a legal bowling ball. It's still, people can still throw it. It's all down to, and even on the European Tour this year, as much as it's a rule in their rules, it's all down to tournament organizer whether you want to use or enforce that 78D hardness rule or not. And yeah, you've got the 78D.
Let me get my ball to demonstrate.
Black Pearl hammer, which Hammer came out with after this rule was implemented to combat the illegality under the rule of the purple hammer. The Ebonite have just come out with their version as well. Ebonite, the one, which is their 78D. And Storm have got their version as well, the 78U, the red.
And there's also the Tank Pearl Rampant, if I remember
exactly
correctly.
But the rule was brought in to combat the easiness, if you like, of some of these patterns and the way they play with things like the purple hammer, the pitch black, because they were softer on the core. On the cover stock, so they were just making things look too easy.
So what I'm understanding from this is that the purple hammer, the pitch black, those old school balls were used just too much in tournaments. They wanted to create a bit more variety in what bowlers brought with them in their bags to these tournaments.
Absolutely, and they wanted to bring resin back into play as well. I mean, way back in the 60s and 70s, they had urethane was everywhere. And then people were kicking off that, reactive was a thing. Oh, what's this resin? What's this reactive? What's it? All these resin covers and this, that, and the other. In the 70s and 80s, it was all what's this? And I think we've gone full circle back again to everybody now as the, 90s, 2000s, everything was reactive. And then all of a sudden, 2013, 14, 15, when the first purple hammer came out, it was a case of, well, hang on a minute. What's all this, and the pitch black as well? What's all this urethane that people are using? It's ruining the lane. It's ruining, the transition for people. And then sort of 10 years later, after that's come out, they're trying to come up with a solution for that problem.
Okay, so in the UK at the moment, we have also introduced the 78D hardness rule into our Thursday night league.
We have done that purely because we are bowling on the PBA patterns, and it just did not make sense to have us bowling on PBA patterns to try and find out, what they're bowling on in the States and find out how difficult these patterns can be, but yet use an easier, use a ball that could make things, 5-10 times easier for you. So it just made sense to implement that rule in the league that we are bowling on our PBA patterns.
I completely agree, and it's quite nice to see a different array of bowling balls on the rack. So when we went to Shipley this weekend, we saw a bit more purple. Purple was back, but at Stroud for the first ESBT this year, there was definitely an array of balls on the racks, which was really nice to see.
And it was, it goes back to the, reactive have tried, or people have tried to bring back resin and reactive balls just to try and not level the playing field again, because, unless you are a staff player for Motive or Storm, everyone's got the accessibility to a purple hammer. But, it's whether people want to throw urethane or they don't. Some people are mega against urethane in general. The black hammer doesn't necessarily do as much damage to a pattern that the purple would or could, especially if you've got 3 or 4 people on a pair throwing it, and then you've got people coming in onto that pair who are all throwing reactive, and all of a sudden it's a whole different pattern. So that's why they've tried to sort of implement the rule, just to bring the field back to sort of more of a
So that's why we're doing it. Okay, that's why the UK are doing it, that's why the USBT are doing it, that's why our Thursday Night League is doing it. But what's your opinion about the 78D rule? What do you think?
It's really difficult, because a big thrower of the purple hammer, and have been for 7 or 8 years, because it did just take out, you didn't have to overly think about which ball to throw, where where's the pin, which reactive to throw. Do you need surface? Do you need not? You can slap a bit of surface on the purple hammer, and it can do most what you want it to do. And 9 times out of 10, you went somewhere you could throw it. But the black hammer is similar, but I think my opinion on the rule itself is that it all depends on the tournament that you're playing in. Okay. It's all down to the tournament managers, but ultimately the purple hammer is still a legal bowling ball, and until such time that whoever they may be at this point, whether it be international rules or the World Federation, all the while it's still a legal bowling ball, I think it should still be allowed to be used. But I've got no problem with not using it. Because it does make you think. It makes you think about what you need. It makes you think about what's in your bag. Again, I enjoy throwing my black hammer, but I don't throw it anywhere near as much as my purple. If in the same scenario. If I had my purple hammer in my bag instead of my black, I would still be throwing my purple a lot more than I do my black hammer, because it doesn't quite do the same things to a pattern that the black does. It doesn't give you that variation of where you can throw a ball. It makes you have to really think about which balls you're going to throw and where and when and for how long.
See, I like that. I'm a little bit of a different perspective. I really like the 78D rule, and the reason why is because I do feel like the purple hammer, especially in some people's hands, looks incredible on any oil pattern. And for me, I can barely throw the ball in the same place twice. So for me, anything that makes...
That's where the purple comes in handy sometimes,
Well, I do agree, but I own a purple. So, Strike Shack did me my 78D ball, and I did really well with it. I shot my new high series this week. Shout out to that. And I love it, but the purple, I just can't strike with it, really, to be honest with you. I don't know, maybe it's definitely me, I'm the problem.
Late to the party with it, definitely.
Yeah, and, I can barely throw the ball, so let alone, any advantage I can get because I'm taking away an advantage my opponent has, I'm all about that. So I personally love the 78D rule because, I've seen Mark throw purple and shoot some ridiculous series and games with it. So, I've seen him throw a 300 with the purple, and I'm all about, giving myself an advantage. So I think we're two very different perspectives
there.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I think the deep root is that while it's still legal, people will still have heavy set opinions on why is it banned, why is this rule in place? It's still a ball that I can go and buy from a pro shop. So why isn't it a ball I can throw in a tournament or on a lane.
Yeah.
And that's the divide that people have got.
And bowling balls are expensive.
And it makes sense. They are.
You know, so when you're spending, 200, 300 quid on a bowling ball that you then can't throw, it's a shock for some people.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah.
But we like it. What we're trying to do in the UK is trying to follow those PBA standards that have been brought in. So absolutely, I agree that these high-level tournaments that we partake in, the SBTs, are introduced in the 78D rule and our Thursday night league. But, we're gonna basically, in another video, throw the balls. Mark will break down the difference because, I won't be able to, but Mark will. And we'll let you know. We'll let you know what we think. We'll put some patterns down, have a little throw later, and incorporate it into maybe a bit of a longer video about it. But let us know what you think in the comments. Whether you're a big fan of the purple, whether you hate it, whether you like urethane, whether you don't. Personally, I'm all about urethane. I like the reading the lane early. I like making my semicircle on the lane into the pocket. And I really like that. I find reactive, you're looking a bit more angular, and I just struggle with that. As Mark tells me all the time, I can't throw reactive. So we'll see. But we'll let you know. Let us know in the comments.
Let us know what you think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Why? Well, it's always good to have discussion with these kind of things that is such a, you're either on one side or the other. Mm-hmm. So let us know what you think and why you think it and what can be done maybe to combat it.
But yeah, 78D hammer in your local pro shop now. Enjoy. Subscribe.